Hi, I'm Keith. I'm the host of Total Football Talk, and this is a very tiny little channel that is looking at the transfer news and the news and kind of the rise and fall of the current Manchester United team. And we will start with the latest news that's coming out around kind of Manchester United. And that news begins with the Kobbie Mainoo story, which is one that is a pretty big story at the minute, I believe, because I think it's because of the heritage and the history of Manchester United and the fact that Manchester United, we are a club that, pride ourselves on youth and development and bringing young players through the system and bringing them into our first team. Or, we have an unbelievable record stretching back over 80 years of, in the matchday squad, always having a player on the within the matchday squad. But now we're looking at in this particular environment that players are potentially up for sale that we'd be very surprised about, I believe. If you look at the Kobbie Mainoo story that's kind of floating around at the minute, there is potential that, I had mentioned it before, I kind of touched on it, but I never, don't know, I wasn't entirely sure if it was true, but more and more reports are coming out now saying that Kobbie Mainoo is looking for a new contract. He's got just over 2 years left on his current deal. And I believe that he is looking for a pay rise, which is totally understandable because if you look at the performances he's put in, he's been excellent. Okay, he's had a little dip this season, but I think he's just been coming back from injury and he's still finding his way back into the team. But that aside, he has put in some far better performances than some players that are, ahead of him currently, play that are ahead of him that currently hold their weight in money. So I'm talking the likes of Casemiro, who's on massive contracts, Marcus Rashford. There are other players who are obviously further into their career and, on much, much higher contracts. But Kobbie is kind of out excelling them at the minute. And does he deserve? I mean, you guys let me know. What do you think? Do you think Kobbie deserves? There's talk about a £200,000 a week contract. I mean, I think that's a bit too much. I think young players still need to be, they still need to have that want, that drive, that desire to play for the badge and play for us, and maybe not be given too much too soon. You give them too much too soon, and that can detract from their performances on the field because what have they got to strive and aim for? We all want to strive and aim for something, and if it's kind of within reach, that's brilliant. But if you're given too much and you fall off because you get too comfortable, then you end up with players that don't quite give everything that we need for the club to move forward. So I don't know whether it's entirely true about whether it's 200 grand a week he's looking for. They're just kind of murmurs that are floating around the internet. But he probably is looking for a new contract, and as I said, he's coming up to that 2 year marker. So it'll be interesting to see what Manchester United do. But there is talk of other clubs out there. Chelsea in particular are interested in him. Chelsea will probably pay him good money and give him a good contract. So will Manchester United lose out one of their young starlets to to Chelsea? I mean, I believe that this will be resolved. I believe that they'll keep Kobbie Mainoo, but I also believe that Rubin Amorim will also want to bring in another another midfielder to sit in alongside Ugarte, because Mainoo's still only 19, I think. So he's still got a long way to go. And he can't play every game. It's not possible. So I believe they've got to bring in someone, to play alongside him and let him grow and develop into becoming hopefully the player that we believe he can become. Can't put too much pressure on these young fellas. But yeah, so there is talk about that. There's talk about other players. Obviously, the Garnacho story keeps coming up with Atletico Madrid. Again, another kind of youngster who's coming through the academy. Another one we're going to sell off. I mean, what we have to be careful about is we don't want the history of our youth to just be expendable because the Glazers have kind of run the club into the ground. We can't just keep selling off all the potentially really good young players, because we want to nurture them. We want to bring them through. We want them to be, part of the culture and the future. And, they carry the symbol of Manchester United, and we want them to carry that symbol into the future. And we don't want to be selling them all. Obviously, I appreciate some will leave and some might not, make the grade, and they will go on and they will be successful as other young Manchester United players have done in the past. So, yeah, let's just see where it goes. But I hope that this is something that they can sort. I hope that Rubin Amorim can see the talent that Kobbie has, and that we can keep him in Manchester United and keep him, nurture him, develop him, grow him, and hopefully become the player that we think he can become. Okay, so quickly, kind of moving on to the next story, and that's you know Marcus Rashford to AC Milan. Looks like the deal is kind of moving on quickly. From what we're led to believe, that is Marcus Rashford's agent is out in Milan at the minute, and they are trying to work on this deal, trying to make it happen. Because what we don't really, ideally, what we want to avoid is Marcus Rashford going out there on a loan, because United will still have to pay the wages. So that massively doesn't really help us. Ideally, we need a full sale, and we also need a full sale with Manchester United to AC Milan for Marcus Rashford, and to get the wages off the books. And if we could do that, and we could free up some money, because Marcus Rashford, being a young player, funny enough, I've just said we shouldn't sell off young players. I get it, but I think just in Marcus Rashford's case, he's been with us for long enough. He has won trophies here. He does have a history. I think people will look back, if he does go, that he was a good servant. He maybe isn't a legend. I don't think legendary status comes with players like Paul Scholes, Ryan Giggs, Roy Keane, Peter Schmeichel, Gary Neville, all these players that have done sort of unbelievable things for this club. And I don't think Rashford's kind of been in that territory. He has done very well, but I just don't think he's in the same kind of bracket as those other players. Said AC Milan are in. Apparently Dortmund are still in the wings, so let's see if they want to come in last minute. And there's always this link with PSG. Will PSG come in there? Will they kind of come in last minute and offer him something? It'll be interesting to see. I believe that they lost Mbappe. I felt Rashford could have been a good fit for them, but it all depends on what Luis Enrique wants. Does he want Rashford? Would he fit into his system? Would he be good for Paris Saint-Germain? I believe he would be. I think he'd be very good out there, but it's maybe the league's maybe not as strong, and PSG are probably the strongest team, so I think he could go there, he could win titles, he could probably compete again for the Champions League. I think it would be good for him. But AC Milan seem to be the front runners. Juventus are still in the mix because they're interested. Dortmund are still in the mix, and then Paris Saint-Germain, I mean, maybe they're left field and they're just going to come out of nowhere and just try and do something if they get wind that a deal is further down the line. But again, so that's the news surrounding Marcus Rashford. So please drop in your comments. Where are you guys with it? What do you think? Marcus Rashford, stay, go? What do you want to see to happen? What would you like to see happen to Marcus kind of moving forward? And then kind of looking moving on to another, there's only a couple of other little bits. Like the Nuno Mendes story is growing, and it's apparently he really wants to join. Nuno Mendes really wants to join Manchester United. He's really pushing for this, as particularly in this January transfer window. He wants to, he wants to sort of come back and work with Rubin Amorim again. I believe that he knew that Amorim's a brilliant coach, and obviously he's a step up now from Sporting to Manchester United. And as I said, this is a deal, and I've talked about it before, which fits everyone. Left side, we need someone bombing down that left side with talent, with skill, with desire, with athleticism. It's all those things that we need, and hopefully someone who can create chances for our striker, whoever it may be. And just a little segue onto the striker. I know the Kolo Muani story is again still doing the rounds, that Manchester United are still keen, bringing them in on a loan deal. For me, if he comes in on a loan deal, as I maybe mentioned before, loan deal to the summer, and then we maybe go and buy the actual striker that we want, whether it's Gyökeres from Sporting, or whether it's Osimhen. There was news about the Osimhen deal, and it's still trickling along, but maybe Osimhen and Gyökeres are deals for the summer. Maybe that's where you go and get the one you really want. But we'll just have to wait and see on that one. And that's it. But I mean, and there was one other final little bit on the Kobbie Mainoo story, and that was Rob Dawson from ESPN came out and just said that Kobbie doesn't want to go. He's really keen to stay at Manchester United. So I now believe that it's up to Manchester United to make that deal for him and try and find out a way to make him to get that deal to sit where it should do, with Kobbie staying with Manchester United on the right deal. The Glazers and Ineos, and Barada, it's all on these guys to get the right deal and give him enough money to keep him happy, but enough money to also know that he needs to be, to keep him hungry, to keep him wanting to kind of push on, drive the team forward, drive himself forward, to earn further achievements with the club. And as I said, we can't do that by giving out big contracts everywhere. Okay, guys, that's your quick roundup this morning. Thank you very much for tuning in. Please, if you're liking the material, just give us a little like. It'll just help me, grow the channel a little bit. And and if you could subscribe, it would mean the world to me. I am just trying to build this from absolute scratch, and anyone who wants to come along for the journey, I really, really appreciate it. I'm Keith, I'm the host, and thank you for taking the 10, 12 minutes, whatever it is, to listen to me waffle on about Manchester United. Okay, guys, take care, and I'll see you on the next one.